An FBI agent had a man in custody, a man who was learning to fly planes, but had no interest in learning how to land. The agent filed an urgent request to search his laptop to find out what he was planning. Pause. FBI headquarters said no. Long pause. 3 weeks later, that man was supposed to be on one of the planes. Pause. The question is not why the agent failed. The agent didn't fail. Long pause. The question is, who at headquarters said no, and why? On August 6, 2001, the President of the United States sat down for his morning briefing. The document placed in front of him had a title that required no interpretation. Bin Laden determined to strike in U.S. Pause. Not might strike. Not is considering. Determined. Long pause. 36 days later, he did. Pause. The president later said he had no warning. Long pause. The document is declassified. You can read it yourself. Today, 11 countries warned the United States. Before September 11th, France, Germany, Britain, Israel, Jordan, Egypt, Russia, all of them, saying the same thing. Pause. Something is coming. Pause. The CIA director himself stood before Congress afterward and described the summer of 2001 in 4 words. Long pause. The system was blinking red. Pause. 11 countries. 4 words. 0 action. Long pause. Ask yourself one question. In any other situation, if 11 people warn you about something and you do nothing, and then it happens, what do we call that? On September 10th, 2001, one day before, the United States Secretary of Defense stood in front of cameras and told the American public that the Pentagon could not account for $2.3 trillion. Pause. 2,300 billion. Gone. No record, no explanation. Pause. The next morning, the story disappeared. Pause. Along with the accounting office at the Pentagon, that was investigating those missing funds. Pause. Which was destroyed when the plane hit the building. Long pause. The story was never followed up by a single major news network. Not one. Pause. $2.3 trillion. Gone. The day before. Long pause. You decide what that means. But 19 men, 15 from Saudi Arabia, 2 from the UAE, 1 from Egypt, 1 from Lebanon. Pause. Not 1 from Afghanistan, not 1 from Iraq. Long pause. The United States invaded Afghanistan, then Iraq. Pause. Saudi Arabia received more American weapons. Long pause. 15 out of 19 came from Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia received weapons. Afghanistan had 0 hijackers. Afghanistan was invaded. Pause. The math is not complicated. The question is whether anyone is allowed to say it out loud. Long pause. We just did. 420 people said yes. 1 person said no. Her name was Barbara Lee. She stood alone in the United States Congress and said, pause. We do not have an exit strategy. We do not have a clear target. We must not rush. Pause. She received death threats. She needed police protection. Her own colleagues called her a traitor. Long pause. 20 years later, the Taliban are back in Afghanistan. There was no exit strategy. There was no clear target. And the one person who said, wait, pause. History proved right. Long pause. One person out of 421. Sometimes the truth is a very lonely place. $8 trillion. 900,000 people dead. 37 million people displaced from their homes, their countries, their lives. Pause. No weapons of mass destruction were ever found. No operational connection between Iraq and September 11th was ever established. Osama bin Laden was found not in Afghanistan, not in Iraq, in Pakistan. Pause. A country that received billions in American aid while the war was being fought. Long pause. And when it was finally over, the Taliban were back in Afghanistan. ISIS had emerged from the chaos in Iraq, and the Middle East was more fractured than the day it began. Pause. $8 trillion. 20 years. These are not opinions. These are the documented findings of historians, economists, and military analysts who spent years studying what happened. Long pause. They're still asking one question that nobody in power has fully answered. Pause. If the goal was stability, why is everything less stable? Pause. If the goal was safety, why did it cost 900,000 lives? Long pause. History does not always give us answers, but it always asks the right questions.
But tension was rising, and the mighty Barmer Kid's fate was about to change forever.
Is the one you are now asking yourself. Ahmed Khan fed people for 30 years. Every morning, flour, water, heat, bread. His bakery was destroyed in 2002. His wife did not survive. His daughter ended up in a refugee camp. His son, Ali, pause, disappeared into a file. That is still classified. Long pause. Ahmed Khan was not a terrorist. He was not a threat. He was not a target. Pause. He was a baker who fed people and happened to live in a country that had 0 hijackers and 100% of the bombs.
Salah disappeared. The documents were never found by the people who were looking for them. But Salah had learned from his father. He had learned what happens to men who know too much and keep the knowledge to themselves. So he didn't keep it to himself. He distributed it quietly to people they could not reach, in places they could not search. And one of those copies found its way to someone who turned it into a story that you are watching right now. The system was blinking red. They said it themselves.